The Magical Mystery Tour by the Beatles, produced by George Martin, released November 27th, 1967 in the United States. The LP version included the singles, which is 11 songs, 36 minutes, and 38 seconds. The LP is the version I'm reviewing today because this is the LP version. Singles start with track 7, Hello Goodbye. You can see on the back of the case, the first half of is the EP, and the second half are the singles that are accompanying and included in the LP. The EP version doesn't include the singles. You might be more familiar with the EP version. This is the digital remaster from 2009. It looks like my other Beatles albums from Capitol Records box sets. The main difference is this is the stereo version only. Okay, see how it says stereo? It's stamped real big. And it's got the big black label with the rainbow going around it. I can show you the box set at the end and what those look like, but you might remember. The Capitol Records have the duophonic stereo from the David Dexter mixes, along with the mono versions on the disc. This doesn't have that. Okay, the album cover, you got the rainbow font here with the Magical Mystery Tour on this, and then the Beatles are wearing their gnarly-looking walrus outfits. Okay, see that? And that's the cover. What's the deal here? It sounds like a psychedelic, or Wiki calls it art rock, which to me is a branch of prog rock. You might not like that it's labeled as prog rock or art rock, but it's definitely a psychedelic album. They wanted to create like a concept album for another movie, and that's what this is. So they made a movie with it. I won't dig into the movie in this review. I don't care much about Beatles movies or rock and roll music videos in general. I'm fairly solely focused on the music and what's in the album. Okay, the music theory for this album is going to be the book that I've referenced in other Beatles posts, and I happen to have that right here. The Beatles sheet music collection, and it's got a lot of the songs are in here. So music theory by the book, except where noted, and I'll note it in the songs as I go along. The first track is, I guess you could call it the title track, The Magical Mystery Tour. It's 2 minutes and 48 seconds. It's credited to Lennon and McCartney. Now, this is a Paul McCartney song, and in just like other Beatles releases, when it says Lennon and McCartney, typically the lead singer is the one who wrote the song, with help from the other, or sometimes not at all. But that's generally how it works with the Beatles, as in this case. So this is a Paul McCartney song, The Magical Mystery Tour. It's got a vibe sort of like Sgt. Pepper's. You're about to take a journey. Paul had this to say about the Magical Mystery Tour, quote, "John and I remembered mystery tours, and we always thought this was a fascinating idea, getting on a bus and not knowing where you're going. Rather romantic and slightly surreal, all these old deers with blue rinses going off to mysterious places. Generally, there's a crate of ale in the boat on the coach, and you sing lots of songs. It's a caravan or a bus trip. So we took that idea and used it as the basis for the song in the film." End of quote. The song is in the key of G major. It's in a 4/4 time with a good beat, good strong beat, and it's in cut time. So you can count it 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 1, 2. Either way, it's you think of it as a cut time, so 2 beats per measure. The verse part of the song is roll up for the mystery tour. That's the verse part, and it's 16 bars. And the chorus part is, the magical mystery tour is waiting to take you away, waiting to take you away. That's only 6 bars. And then there's a bridge part that starts out a mystery trip, and it goes for about 8 bars. And there's no solos in this song. It's a pretty decent start to the album. And, like you're on a musical journey, and I would imagine that fits with the movie pretty well. The song structure is verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus. So complex song structure. And that's the title track to the Magical Mystery Tour. Track 2 is The Fool on the Hill, 2 minutes and 59 seconds. This is also Paul McCartney song and on lead vocals. And here's what Paul had to say about it. "The Fool on the Hill was mine, and I think I was writing about someone like the Maharishi." Okay, so the Maharishi was this guy, the Indian religious leader, and they were They were starting to follow him, and they ended up going to India because of it the next year. It's in the key of D major, The Fool on the Hill, and it's in 4/4 time with a slow beat. The verse is day after day, alone on a hill, the man with the foolish grin is keeping perfectly still. And that goes on for about 14 bars. And you hear like a woodwind instrument as it's playing. You can probably hear that as I'm reading the lyrics. The chorus part is, but the fool on the hill sees the sun going down. It's about 8 bars. It is 8 bars. And the bridge, so I said a woodwind, it sounds like a recorder. And it's that. I don't know if it's a recorder. It probably is. I could have checked the credits and I neglected to. It's 8 bars. And the second bridge is Paul singing round and round and round and round with that recorder underneath it. Or whatever that woodwind is. It's 8 bars, the second bridge. And then the outro, there's an outro to the song. It's more like the second bridge. It's kind of doing the same thing. And the song structure for The Fool on the Hill is verse, chorus, instrumental bridge, verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, outro. At least that's how Genius has it written up. I should note that usually you can get a strong indication of what's the verse and the chorus and the bridge just by looking at the lyrics. The lyrics are in this booklet. You'll see The Fool on the Hill here. Right here. It's hard to tell just by looking at this what's the verses in the bridges. You might think of this, it's just a verse, bridge, verse. In that case, it's an AABA. That's what it could be. I don't know. We'll let the musical theorists worry about that, but it's one or the other. Track 3 is called Flying. It's 2 minutes and 16 seconds. It's an instrumental by Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. They all get credit. And the mellotron is being played by John Lennon. It's in the key of C major. And that is brought to you by musicnotes.com because this song is not in the book. It's in a 4/4 time with a moderate beat, and it's an instrumental. There's basically 3 parts to this song. The first part is just this really cool vibe, this cool beat. And it sort of carries the song throughout. And it runs for the first 31 seconds of the song. And then starting at 31 seconds, this horn joins. Dun, 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 dun. It kind of does that. And it sounds like a horn, but I think that's the mellotron. At least I'm willing to bet you that's what it is. Okay. And then, by the way, the mellotron is the best instrument. I wish I had one. The third part of the song is when the vocals join. So the vocals start at 1 minute and 2 seconds. And now they're just singing the la 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 la. They're singing that part of the mellotron. Okay, so that's the song. And then the last 45 seconds or so is the outro or the coda or whatever you want to call it. It goes from a minute 31 to the end, which is 2:15, 2:16. And it sounds like it actually gets like a scary shift in it, kind of like a old Porcupine Tree song. At least that's what it reminds me of. And that's the song Flying, which is a 3-part song. Track 4 on the Magical Mystery Tour is Blue Jay Way. It's 3 minutes and 54 seconds. It is a George Harrison track, and it's credited to George Harrison, and he's on lead vocals. There's some real haunting Hammond organ playing in the song, and that's what really stands out. Like a lot of George Harrison, these sort of sub-Asian, Southern Asia, Indian songs, it's in the key of C major. A lot of his are like that. It's in 4/4 time, and it's in a slow beat. The verse, George is singing, "There's a fog upon LA, and my friends have lost their way. We'll be over soon," they said now. They lost themselves instead. It's an 8-bar verse in the song. And the chorus, please don't be long. Please don't be very long. 8 bars. And the chorus he's kind of like dragging out the vocals. By the way, George has a cool voice. Very different from Paul and John. The song structure for Blue Jay Way is a verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, chorus. and then the song ends. Track 5 is another Paul McCartney song. It's Your Mother Should Know, 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Paul's doing a lot of the heavy lifting on this album. It's in the key of C major. It's in 4/4 time with a moderate tempo. And the verse is, let's all get up and dance to a song that was a hit before your mother was born. It's 11 bars. And then there's a break. It's like an instrumental break or a bridge or however you want to think about it. It's about 8 bars and it features a bunch of organs, okay? And the song structure is a verse, break, outro, and a final verse. The outro was like a final verse, okay? Track 6 is I Am the Walrus. That's a mouthful for me. 4 minutes and 35 seconds. John Lennon is written the song and he takes on lead vocals, and the big feature of this song is the big orchestra strings that are in it. By the way, I had a big stage of this song back in 2003. I Am the Walrus. I was listening to it a lot. I was sort of mesmerized by it. It's in the key of D major. It's in 4/4 time with a very slow beat. It's it's a little bit painful to count out. The verse is, I am he, as you are he, as you are me, and we are all together. It's 6 bars. The chorus is, I am the Eggman, they are the Eggman, and I am the Walrus, goo goo gajoob. It's 4 bars. And then the bridge is the part of the song where he sings, sitting in an English garden waiting for the sun. If the sun don't come, you get a tan from standing in the English rain. It's a 4-bar bridge. It's fast. It's faster than the verse. So is the chorus. There's no solo. It's a verse, chorus, chorus, bridge, chorus, verse, bridge, outro. It's a very long arrangement where you're just repeating a lot of these things, and that's how they extend the song out to 4 minutes and 35 seconds. That must be the longest song on the album. Feels like it. But the whole point of this song is, don't try to make sense of the lyrics. It's a bit nonsensical in a psychedelic fashion. And that was intentional by John Lennon, trying to make the song confusing for people who were trying to deconstruct the lyrics and understand what he was singing about. This was like a gotcha song. Track 7, it starts off the second half of the album. If you can remember, these are where the singles start. And the first one is Hello, Goodbye. It's 3 minutes and 24 seconds. It's a Paul McCartney song. And it's in the key of C major and in 4/4 time, moderate tempo. It's one of these big Paul McCartney pop songs. It's kind of poppy. The verse is, you say yes, I say no. Da 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 da. It's 7 bars. And then the chorus is, you say goodbye and I say hello. Da 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 da. It's 9 bars. It's got that real bumpy beat to it, The bridge is, why do you say goodbye? Goodbye, bye. Oh no, it's about 8 bars. Okay, and then there's no solo. It's a verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, verse, chorus, outro. So a lot of these songs on this album have that complex song structure. Just about all of them. Track 8 is Strawberry Fields, 4 minutes and 5 seconds. It's a John Lennon song. And I had read that the Mellotron was by John Lennon, but in the credits in here, it says by George Harrison and Paul McCartney. So who knows what's actually right. It's hard to say who really played what. There are also cellos and trumpets in Strawberry Fields too. But those, at least in the credits it is, played by cello and trumpet players. They could have easily been overdubbed by Mellotron. Lennon's song, this is his song about Liverpool and growing up in Liverpool. The song sounds weird because of all the backwards tape in it. And it's just got a very weird vibe, very psychedelic vibe to it. It's in the key of A major. It's in 4/4 time, slowly, and there are changes to 2/4 and 3/4 throughout the song. And you barely notice it. It's not too abrupt like in a big prog rock kind of way, but they are doing some things with the time signatures. The chorus is, "Let me take you down 'cause you're going to strawberry fields." And the choruses are 10 bars. And then the verse is when he sings, "Living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see." It's kind of like that. Those are 8-bar verses. And then there's a break. I guess you could think of the break as a bridge, but in this song there's only one break. So the song structure is chorus, but it's a song. This is one of those songs where the chorus goes first, which is, I would say, it's bucks the trend, right? Usually the verse starts out after the intro, but this is a chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, break, outro. Okay? Track 9 is Penny Lane on the Magical Mystery Tour. It's a Paul McCartney song. It's 3 minutes long exactly. And this is Paul's song about Liverpool. So you've got a John song and a Paul song. And these were double A sides or A B sides of a single. And, I had read that this is well documented, but George Martin said one of his biggest regrets was not putting these two songs on Sgt. Pepper's, which they had recorded. These are really the singles for Sgt. Pepper's, but they included them here as the EP, okay, as the LP for the EP. Okay, so this is Paul's song about Liverpool. It's got the biggest feature is the big thumping bass part and a lot of woodwinds going on. It's in the key of C major. It's in 4/4 time with a medium swing beat. The verse, Paul McCartney singing, "In Penny Lane, there's a barber shop. There's a barber showing photographs of every head he's had the pleasure to know." 8 bars. Everything in this song is 8 bars. Everything. The chorus is 8 bars. "Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyes." That's the chorus. And there's a solo spot in this song. It's a piccolo and a trumpet. I guess it's not a solo, but a duet. It's 8 bars. And the song arrangement is a lot like the other songs. It's a verse, verse, chorus, the piccolo solo, the chorus, verse, verse, chorus, chorus. So it's like, it's made up of verses and choruses and solos. But what I had read about it is Paul wanted it to be like if you look at it, it's backwards, right? The first half of the song is verse, verse, chorus. And then the second half of the song is verse, verse, chorus. Get it? Track 10. "Baby, You're a Rich Man," 3 minutes and 7 seconds. It's a John Lennon song and sung by John Lennon. This song has a big bass line in the intro. And it's in the key of C major, and it's in 4/4 time, moderate beat. The verse is, "How does it feel to be one of the beautiful people?" It's a question for 8 bars. And then the chorus is, "Baby, you're a rich man." And it kind of goes, the chorus is 12 bars. And very simple, verse, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And that's "Baby, You're a Rich Man." Track 11 is the last track on the album, "All You Need Is Love." It's 3 minutes and 57 seconds. It's a John Lennon song. This song was made for a big made-for-TV event as the first ever global or international broadcast ever. Okay, so they recorded this song while they were on the broadcast. And the song, it's a pretty unique song. The intro to the song is the French national anthem. Da 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 da. And then it goes right into the love, And there are like a kabillion contributors to this song, like all these different people in the studio, including Mick Jagger, I think his girlfriend at the time, all the brass players, and they were all there performing the song. And if you've ever seen the video, Paul's really animated. He's just really having a good old time. It's in the key of G major, and it's in 4/4 time. and it switches to 3/4 time in the song. The verse is, there's nothing you can do that can't be done, nothing that you can sing that can't be sung. 8 bars. Real inspirational, real uplifting lyric. And the chorus is the part that is, all you need is love. Da 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 da. All you need is love. It's an 8-bar chorus. And the bridge is the part of the song, it's like the introduction. It's love, love, love. It's an 8-bar bridge. Everything in this song is 8 bars. Except for perhaps the outro. There's no solo, but the outro is very long where John sings, love is all you need. He just keeps singing that over and over again. Love is all you need, love is all you need. And then he sprinkles in some fun stuff like, she loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's a big, big ending. I mean, this is one of those, like, it's one of the, I don't mean to offend people, but it's really a big hippy dippy love song, like one of those big peace songs. And it should be on the, if there's like a peace compilation soundtrack, it should be on there. Okay. It's, the song arrangement is a verse, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, verse, chorus, outro. And that's all you need is love. Okay. In summary, the Magical Mystery Tour. Let's just get into the facts and then we'll get into what it means. The sales, it was it's the number 11 all-time beat for the Beatles. That's 7 million. 7 million, that's a lot. Okay, now the compilation album won, and Sgt. Pepper's are tied at number 1 at 32 million, which I forgot to say in the Sgt. Pepper's review, but 32 million is a lot. Okay, but this is a big step down at 7 million. But still, 7 million is a lot. I mean, anyone right now would take 7 million. Anybody. That's a huge number. Okay. The Magical Mystery Tour was good enough for number 4 in 1967. And of course, number 1 in 1967 was Sgt. Pepper's. ProgArchives.com gives it a 4.18. That's the score given to it by the users. It's like that's the average score. To me, that seems kind of high. It's not quite a 4. Allmusic.com gives it 5 stars, and Blender gives it 5 stars. And it's 3.5 stars by the Rolling Stone Album Guide. That seems about more right to me. 3.5, somewhere in there. Okay, now I mentioned the Capitol records. These are the Capitol records, and they kind of went for the same look and feel. So let me pull out. This is Something New by the Beatles. I'll just pull it out. This is how the disc Something New looks. You can see it's got that black label, and this is the Magical Mystery Tour. See how they're very similar. I mean, the Capitol Records stamp is different. It's much bigger on the Magical Mystery Tour, but they were going for the same effect. So I just bought this, I think last year or 2 years ago. I found it I found it at the Exclusive Company before it closed, and I picked it up. I was kind of surprised to see it had the same look and feel as the box set, but that's pretty cool to me. The booklet's got, it's got some stuff in it. It's got some good pictures of the Beatles, and there's good liner notes and stories in here you can read. There's like a comic booky type feel to it, and there's shots. I guess that would be from the movie. So there's movie stuff in it, and also this CD has a Magical Mystery Tour mini documentary, which I've watched. You have to put it into a computer to watch it. You can't put it into a DVD player. But I did get the software running. And there's nothing remarkable on it. Yeah, so there's a big to-do about this album in that Brian Epstein. Brian Epstein died. And the Beatles were kind of rudderless, like they were kind of leaderless at the time, and John and Paul started getting more involved in the business decisions, and they had this record store called Apple, the Apple Store, and they were selling everything really, not just records, but it was a tumultuous time for the Beatles, and the critics, a lot of critics like looked at this and like, oh, an EP in a weird movie. They use this to say, as an example, the Beatles they're going down now. They're not as good as they used to be. This is the first. This is the first kink, Well, maybe. I mean, it's not a bad album. It's not as fun to listen to as some of the other albums, but it's pretty. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, we'll leave it at that. I think it's like a 3.5 star album. Next on the channel is Atom Heart Mother by Pink Floyd. I'll start. I listened to it last night. I like it a lot, and after that I'll try to get to Atom Heart Mother this week yet. I'll see if I can do it. I should be able to. It should be an easy write-up for me. And I know the album so well. I've listened to it a lot. And then after that will be the White Album, probably sometime early next week. To me, the White Album is a controversial album. I know a lot of prog rock fans, they really love it. I was reading the reviews on the White Album on progarchives.com. The fans love it. I mean, there's certainly things to like about the album. It's a double album, so to me it's uneven, and I'm sure I'll cover that in the review. All right, I'm out. Thank you.